Hi guys! So the UK was rocked this week with the amazing news that RTD will be coming back to Doctor Who. Who'd have funked that one? Nobody saw that coming. And okay, I'm a few days late to the party and this is my first video, so this is enough to get me on here. So what can I say? Wow. I guess the biggest concern we all have is it really going to change anything? I mean, RTD brought back Doctor Who. And did we think it was possible? And I remember at the time, and my brother, who's older than me, was a massive fan of Doctor Who, literally texted me going, "Oh, they're trying to ruin it. Billie Piper's going to be in it. They're putting it up against Anne and Dec. They're just doing everything they can for this not to succeed." And obviously, it just blew everybody's expectations and minds. When it actually launched, he managed to capture the best of the old series, but did bring it into modern times, which means something completely different now, and that's probably why the show's in the state that it is, and that's what all our fear is, right? So, Russell's an absolutely amazing writer, not just when it comes to Doctor Who. I've watched some of these other shows, and recently It's a Sin has won multiple awards and was absolutely a fantastic show, which I loved. Completely different subject matter, and one that's obviously very close to RTD's heart. But his characterizations and how he builds the story, and again, I'm not a man, I'm not gay, but I could completely relate to his characters. I fell in love with these characters, and it broke my heart. Not any spoilers, but for anyone who doesn't know, It's a Sin is a story about the early 80s and AIDS. And I really cared about these characters, and at not any point was anybody saying, "This show's not made for you, you're not meant to like it." And I think this is the genius of RTD, that he can make stuff that, even if it's political or has a view that some people term as woke these days, it's still completely inclusive. So, he's probably the only person that could bring Doctor Who back from the depths of where it is. But where does that leave us? So I think the elephant in the room is obviously the timeless children or child, and the abomination of trashing the Doctor's history. I've watched multiple videos on YouTube and obviously Twitter, and again, I don't think we set out to divide the fandom in any way, shape or form. If anything, I think the BBC thought, oh, this would be the one thing that completely unites the fandom, and they'll get right back behind the show, and we don't even have to try. BBC, not at all. Again, you completely underestimate the fandom and just think we're all stupid and plebs and we'll just plop along if you dangle the carrot. So right now, I think looking at the fandom, there's people who are, I'll give it a go. It's Russell T. Even if the new regeneration is still a woman, maybe he can write one that works and it looks and smells and tastes and feels like Doctor Who. I think the other half of the camp is, if you don't retcon the timeless child, I'm not even coming back. And if you keep it as a woman, I'm not coming back. It's a difficult one. I guess I'm kind of a little bit in both camps, in the sense that if that origin story was done for the right reasons, to grow the show, build on the show, extend the Doctor, it could have morphed into something amazing. Maybe he even ended up being Omega or Rassilon in different generations or something crazy like that, who knows? But they didn't. It was just for the sake of virtue signaling and a bit of ideology, or that's certainly my take on it. Feel free to challenge me. But they didn't take it anywhere. For a couple of shows, you got Jodie going, "I don't know who I am, I don't know who I am," and then she got straight over it, like she always does, because the writing's so piss poor, and just doesn't go in any direction, doesn't character build, because Chimballs doesn't know how to character build. Shocker. He wrote one good thing, which was series 1 of Broadchurch, and then you had David Tennant and Olivia Colman. Of course it was going to work. Season 2 and 3 were absolutely dire. Just completely shows everything that Chibnall can't do. He can't carry on a story, he can't develop a story, he can't character build. It all just went into the toilet. But anyway, that's probably for a different a different stream. So I mean, I'm kind of torn. I'm absolutely torn. I love the original series because yeah, I am that old. But FYI, I kind of really only remember very late Tom Baker and Peter Davison was my Doctor. And then obviously when it came back in 2005, I guess I was skeptical, like all the original fans and my brother, and we were just absolutely blown away by it. So I think he's definitely earned the benefit of the doubt that we know he can write Doctor Who, and his work outside of Doctor Who is fantastic in terms of whether it's got your cup of tea or not. You can still sort of say, look, he's a good writer, he's a good character builder, even if the subject matter isn't what you'd want to watch. So will he have the capacity or freedom, I guess, to write what he wants to write? And maybe he'll have too much freedom to write. And we go too much down a political agenda rather than a sci-fi agenda. But, you know, he was always great at doing that. I mean, most of his stories were set, you know, outside of Earth and going places and through time and space. Not that much time travel, really, but definitely other worlds in the future, you know, and the fantastic stories around, you know, the Ood. Again, massively woke episode. It's all about slavery, but it, you know, it didn't have to be set, you know, with the slave traders going to Africa and putting people on a boat, and Jodie turned up telling everybody, "Ooh, slavery's bad, racism is bad," because it's lazy writing. He had this fantastic story around the Ood, in you know, Satan's pit, and then later on the planet of the Ood, and really showed slavery up for what it was. And you can say you can do woke in, and lots of people shoot me down, but I think you can actually write woke really well. Look at District 9. You can't get more woke than District 9. It's an allegory for apartheid. But people forget that or don't get that anymore because the term woke has been twisted and morphed into so many different things that the true meaning is gone. So I'm a bit like, if the true meaning of woke is brought back and it's done cleverly, well written, and it's not slapping me over the head with a 6x4 and telling me what to believe, I'm okay with that. And I think he will bring some of that back because he's done it in the past. But where good writing is and good working is, you don't even necessarily know that's what they're doing. So I'm okay with that. Personally, I am reluctant for it to be another woman, which probably sounds strange coming from a woman, I don't know. Having grown up, it was always written as a very eccentric male character and British. So for me, it has to stay British, it has to stay male. What colour or sexuality that Doctor is, I'm really not that bothered. I think Captain Jack proved that you can have, you know, I think he was bi. Well, who knows what Captain Jack was, but portrayed as bi in Torchwood and Doctor Who. But you know, he was almost more fluid than that. But it proves you can have like a hero, also masculine. You know, not all gay men have to be camp and running around and, you know, clutching their pearls. I mean, that's a very outdated view of what a gay man looks like. So for me personally, I'm really not bothered as long as it is a man, which, you know, sounds awful, but as a lot of other YouTubers, I'm strongly in the camp of, you know, bring back Susan, get her to regenerate, or Romana, or the Rani. There are so many stories that you could do from a female Time Lord perspective, having to deal actually with male Time Lords. You look at Romana back in the original series, she was cleverer than the Doctor, always, you know, outmaneuvering him, put him in his place, and not in the modern snarky beat down the patriarchy way, but in a really intelligent way. And they really bounced off each other, and people loved that dynamic. So you could create that show with the studying and brave female Time Lord, who's a female Time Lord, and how she kind of deals with maybe being in a male Time Lord world. But so yeah, they really missed a trick, you know. Time Lord's going from male to female and back again. really shouldn't matter. I mean, she wouldn't be standing there going, "Ooh, I've had an upgrade," knowing that she could potentially go back to being a man anyway. It's just nonsense. It was just all about identity politics at the end of the day. It wasn't really exploring, the continuity of the Doctor and how they'd retain the same moral. I mean, he's always had the same moral fiber, no matter the different quirks of the personality. But this regeneration didn't maintain any of it, and this is why it didn't work. I mean, Jodie just didn't act or feel, as I said earlier, look, smell, feel like the Doctor. I mean, there was just nothing Doctor Who about her or the writing. So I think they absolutely missed a trick of the direction they could have took the show in, and really sort of proved that a Time Lord's a Time Lord. And they chose not to do that, and we've seen the dumpster fire that we've ended up with. So I guess where does this leave us all? I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to know for till 2023 what it is we're going to get, and we unfortunately do have another season of Chimbles and the specials coming up. I mean, I'm really hoping that Russell gets to oversee those specials, as they will directly lead up to the 60th that he's writing, even if it's not promoted or seen in any way that he's involved. The worry is that there's so much more running into the ground that can be done in the next season that almost makes it impossible to unpick all the catastrophe that we've got. But we're going to have to wait and see. Maybe the 60th will be a completely standalone, I don't say like non-canon, because I think it absolutely, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything of the last 3 years of Doctor Who or any stories we've seen before. It could just be these completely off the shelf, random, like when shows do like Christmas specials. It could be completely left of field, standalone, amazing story that he writes with any of the Doctors previously, or all of the Doctors, or who knows. But just hope that Jodie's not in it. I don't mean that awfully, but I guess we either she'll regenerate before the 60th or regenerate on the 60th, which either option is not a great option. I think that if she regenerates in the 60th, obviously that will detract. She's going to be in it basically and detract from what Russell's trying to do. If she regenerates before, introducing a new Doctor into the 60th anniversary is a lot of pressure and very difficult for that actor to come into. So there's lots of challenges coming up, lots of things to worry about. I mean, Russell certainly has the quality and talent to straddle those issues and give us something great. But it's a long time to wait to see what actually happens between now and 2023. I assume that'll be November 2023 as the date of the anniversary. So I think all we can do is cross our fingers, hope for the best, expect the worst. But I think where I'm sitting is that everything I know about Russell's writing and quality of writing, he's earned my respect to certainly check out whatever he writes. I think the 60th will be a good indication whether we want to stick with it and see what his first season brings, or not. That's why I think it might be a completely standalone entity that we can't, other than the writing, we can't judge what we're going to get and whether it has anything to do with the time as child or not. And any of Chibnall's threads and storylines, and like I say, unfortunately we've got another year and a few specials to have to suffer, that could be impossible to erase. Who knows? But anyway, that's my musings, my thoughts. Do let me know what you think, and please be kind, because it is my first one. But yeah, I'm hoping to put other musings on around other TV shows, films, general pop culture, just general things that interest me. I try not to be massively political, but sometimes what you're reviewing, you can't help but bring the politics into it, because that seems to be what all our TV is about these days. We can't just have something entertaining. That's definitely a subject for another video. Anywho, so thanks guys, thanks for listening, if anybody does listen. If not, no worries, I'll keep going, and hopefully I'll make something that you guys will want to listen to. Thanks and good night.